But today, this is probably a little bit bigger topic. We're not going to go totally doom and gloom, but we do want to have some fun.
Yeah,
And I mean, we have totally different sides. Tom, you're
yeah,
obviously from New York, so it's
yeah.
crazy over
So
there.
seeing it from this perspective of being in New York City, um, I'm in the more rural area of New York, so it's not as bad, but we still get all the backlash of still being as part of the city. So it's definitely been like pretty hellish here. Like almost everything's closed. Transportation's completely like shot. Um, if I wanted to go to the city, I can't. I mean, I could, but I would have to probably walk there, which would take probably like 3 days. So ain't doing that.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys are crammed in like sardines out there, and you
Yeah,
said it would take like 3 days. I mean, you told me long ago that just to get to work, which
yeah.
you're
It would
on
take me like
a very it wouldn't a couple miles would take you upwards of what, like an hour or something.
an hour, sometimes hour and a half. It depends on which way I'm going and what time of the day it is. Like if it's the afternoon, no problem, an hour. If it's going home at night, if I'm getting off of work, usually I think I was getting off at around like 11 p.m. Uh, there was like one train every hour. So if I and of
Jeez.
course that train would come at like 11:03, and it's like
Yeah,
a 10-minute walk to the train station.
yeah,
So yeah,
that's absolutely brutal. Yeah, and I mean, you guys are just here in Arizona, it's a little bit different. I would say, we're overall much more spread out. Um, we're not living on top of each other. Our primary means of transportation is not public transportation. Plenty of people are still utilizing it, but it's not to the point where it's like, I mean, what is it, like a large portion of the population in New York? I mean, more
yeah,
freaking cars are pretty expensive down there, or at least to have one is kind of not
yeah.
easy, right?
It's not like it depends on where you live. Like if you're going more like upstate, obviously have a car. Like we have a car, like me and my roommate. Well, he has a car, I don't.
You
But
guys are
so like
rich.
yeah, yeah, rich. But even then, it's like in order to go somewhere, it's like you have to take the time to travel and go there. Like it becomes more of like a like most of the time, like when we have to go to the city, we don't drive into the city. We end up just driving to the train station and taking the train. Like that's what we have to do.
No,
So
yeah, I'm good.
and
I'm good on that.
obviously
That's
with the
brutal.
whole COVID thing going on
Yeah.
right now, obviously public transportation is like one of the worst things that you can possibly even do right now. Just for the fact that more than half the time you're cramped up next to someone.
No,
Like the subways are shoulder to shoulder with people, and that's actually probably why I think New York got like the shit end of the stick because they
I
didn't really
absolutely.
do all that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think largely that's why you
Yeah,
guys got the short end of the stick, and I mean those are things we're here to talk about today. Um, you know, the strange oddities going on with places like China, where they're much more compact than,
yeah,
say, for instance, you guys are in New York, and they apparently have, they have no more reported cases
yeah,
of this
sure,
coronavirus. Yeah, yeah, we all believe that because
yeah,
there's one reason I don't believe that. It's because here in Arizona, we're not stacked on each other, like I've said, and we still
yeah,
see daily cases. It just
yeah,
does. I mean, I don't know how many you guys see. We're not seeing thousands upon thousands a day, but
yeah. No,
in
we're
New York,
seeing like our governor said like we hit our our peak and now we're starting to plateau and all that stuff. But we're still seeing like not as many like new cases, but we're seeing obviously with it plateauing, we're seeing a lot more deaths than recoveries at this point. Because I
yeah,
think right now, like New York, I believe is like pretty much like almost even set with recoveries and deaths.
holy shit.
So
I've personally not looked into that, but I mean, on your end, how do you feel? Like, what's going on? I mean, you're obviously hunkering down. You're not going out and just hanging out on the beaches and things like that. I mean,
yeah, no,
what's going
yeah.
on in your head about this whole thing?
Oh, mine is like I'm in the stay the fuck at home. Like just do it. Like there's no reason to go out. I have enough money so I can, coast off that. It kind of sucks because like New York Chinese food is slamming, I gotta say. And almost every single place is closed, and it's like pissing me and my roommate off because like there's nothing more right now than like we just want like some sesame chicken, which like
Of course.
really sucks.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
like we go out shopping like once a week, but like even then, like when we're going out shopping, like we're spending like
Yeah.
almost like $200 each time that we're going just for to like try to save up for like the next 2 weeks.
Now, when
And
you
it's
guys
mostly
go
all
out shopping, are you guys
Mhm.
wearing masks?
Yes, so I'm
What's
wearing
the
my mask.
protocol? What are you guys doing?
Actually, funny enough, New York is actually very they're only letting like limited people into like most places like Target and stuff like that, which is where we do most of our shopping.
Okay.
Um, there's a guy there, he has it roped off like right at the front, and he lets like 5 people in, and then when he sees 5 people leave, he lets another 5 people in. Um, the supermarket that's like right down the block from us, not really as much. Like we can just walk right in, walk right out, but they're not letting people into most places out here without a mask. Like I know like the Dollar Tree, a couple blocks away from me. Same thing, like big sign right on the door. If you don't have a mask, you're not allowed in. Like they have the right to do it and they will do it. So if anybody's out there and they're walking around without a mask, just do it. Like even when I go and pick up cigarettes, like I put my mask on and I even though it's like only a 5 minute walk, I still
Yeah.
do it.
I mean, I feel like the mask thing is obvious, right? There was a
Yeah.
point in time where there was some strange misinformation going on that masks don't help the healthy; they're only meant to stop the sick from getting other people sick. I mean, that's just completely asinine, in my opinion,
Oh yeah.
because there's some weird things going on now. Now that it's getting hot here in Arizona, it's an airborne thing. This isn't the no matter who, as long if you've got it
Yeah. You're
or you
most likely
don't
gonna
have
get
it,
it.
like
Yeah.
I'd rather have a mask on and
Tom, you
let
look like
somebody.
Guilfoyle from Silicon Valley. Oh, yes, I do. Thank you. Actually, funny enough, I've gotten that before, and I always love that compliment. So thank you.
That's hilarious. No, like, I don't want to stumble around too much because it's like sometimes this gets a little like hectic, but I'd rather have a mask and not have it. So if somebody like within my vicinity coughs, obviously I don't breathe that shit
Yeah,
straight in.
no, like I
It's
think
not
I
a
told you,
fail safe, but I
like
mean,
last
Christ
week.
Almighty.
Yeah, last week when I went shopping, I think I told you about this. Like, obviously, we have a shopping cart with us, so it's like it's a good 4 feet distance between me and like the end of the cart. And I was looking for coffee, and this guy's, obviously I can kind of see that I was in his space, so I backed up a little bit, kind of moved over to the side, giving his thing.
The Mask is
Uh,
my favorite Jim Carrey movie. I agree. It's fantastic.
but I'm looking for coffee. I see that he's looking for something, so I'm like, all right, I'll move over. I move over, grab my coffee, looking for creamer and shit like that. I guess he needed something on where I was at, and instead of just like in New York, it's like most people are rude, but like we're nice rude. We're like like instead of
We're
saying like
nice
oh
rude.
no, I'm serious. Like it's
No, I
very
know. Well, you guys
it's
understand
like
each other, basically.
yeah,
What,
it's mostly
remember when the
all
Mask entered the club? Hold on, and started coughing on people. Do you think this is the second wave of Civic? Somebody, gosh, guys, that's good. Sorry, go ahead, Tom. My bad, brother.
but yeah, like we're nice rude, which is like hey, get out of my way. Which basically
Yeah,
in New York talk, that's just like please
yeah,
move.
yeah. And like in
Instead of doing
minutes
that,
later, like,
he's
hey, brother, like, come on
yeah,
over to my house and have
yeah.
a smoky smoke.
But the thing that he decided to do was climb over my cart. So
That's a little fucked.
like yeah, and like my natural reaction is like even before this happened was like if anybody got into like my personal space, I would tell them like get the fuck away from me, like move. So the first thing I did was I just pulled back my cart and like was like you do excuse me, like,
Yeah,
and I just walked the fuck away. I was like fucking these people are crazy now.
they're nuts.